Josh, welcome to the Scholarship GPS podcast. Your first time here. We're so glad to have you.
Thanks so much for having me, Dave. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, well, before we jump into some questions I have for you, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Josh. I'm a former educator of 15 years. I was in the charter school space, specifically in an early college high school for about 15 years here in Colorado, where I live, helping really build and grow the early college model here in the state. We really had no framework or blueprint at all when we built these, so I had the privilege of being able to help kind of build it from scratch. But been married 18 years to my wonderful wife, Rebecca, and I've got a 6-year-old daughter going on 16, currently in kindergarten. So we're navigating those waters. But yeah, spent 15 years on the school side, and I've been running my business, college and high school, where we meet families kind of where they're at, whether they're parents of middle or high school students, current college students, even adults. We've been able to expand really worldwide, showing families how to reverse engineer college in the sense of if you could get college credit and save a lot of money and even time ahead of time, here's how you do it.
hmm That's awesome. Well, and that was one reason I wanted to have you on the show is that we share a similar mission. We both want to, like you said, reverse engineer that college process, particularly
Mhm.
the financial aspects of it. And we come at it from, I look at all angles, but of course, my specialty is around scholarships, and your specialty is a little different than that. But before we maybe dive into that particular avenue to save money. Do you have some recommendations for what families can do to save on the cost of college?
Yeah, really, it's my philosophy, and it's a little bit different, is not just preparing for college.
Hmm.
We live in a society and in our high schools and even our colleges, but specifically our high schools have been given this task of preparing our students for college and even life after high school. And there's so much time and so much energy, and our school counselors are inundated.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
many times they're not equipped. Many times they're thrown into this process with five, six, seven, 800 students in a caseload where it is just, darn near impossible to
Hmm.
individualize student advising. So much of it is the, not just preparing, but showing them how to start college early, whether you're an
Hmm.
adult, whether you're in college, whether you're in high school, whatever it looks like. And Dave, the interesting thing is all the resources are there. They're right in
Yeah.
front of
Yeah.
our face, but because there are so many resources, and we live in America where higher education is incredibly complicated,
Yeah.
and that's just morphed over the years, and you've seen it just in your personal journey, I'm sure. But because it's so complicated, parents don't know where to start, students don't know where to start. So they
Hmm.
simply depend on the high school or depend on the college to write the roadmap. And it's not saying it's wrong, it's just a very expensive route that if they
Hmm.
reverse their thinking just a little bit
Right.
and tried some of these resources and things that I teach and coach every day, they can save and they will save money and even
Yeah.
time on their college journey.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, I think the one we want to kind of drill down on is allowing students to earn college credit before they start college.
Correct.
What are some of the ways that students can do that?
Mhm. Yeah, a couple because it's so complicated, and I recognize it's very complicated. We try not to inundate. That's the last thing we want to do is inundate families with just information, information, information,
Yeah.
because it becomes just overwhelming, and then you've lost them. So I
Right.
focus on really three, sometimes four methods, all depending on the student and their particular journey, whether they're middle school, high school, adult, because it all looks different. First
Right.
one I really like is the CLEP exam. These are the college level examination program exams. They're overseen and administered by the College Board. So the College
Okay.
Board is the same body that oversees SAT and
Hmm.
AP, and it's been around
Yep.
forever. These club exams have been around about 50 years. They first started out as a great way for those members of the military to get a lot of college credit, and that's
Oh,
still
okay.
actively used today.
Okay.
However, still few people know about CLEP. It's not
Hmm.
readily advertised as a method to earn significant college credit very quickly because Dave, they're 34 exams, 90 minutes to take an exam. What I
Hmm.
really like is there's no permission needed of a high school counselor or principal of anybody. Students and families can take this charge themselves.
Okay.
There's a way to take these things for free, and
Wow.
you're
Okay.
earning significant college credit very quickly, really on your own terms. So that's one I really like and I promote. And even the College Board, for whatever reason, doesn't actively promote it. I know many guidance counselors and families I talk to, well, my counselor never told me about this. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
know
Sure.
it doesn't surprise me, but here's
Yep.
what exists in all the potential roadblocks and just red tape that makes education education. Unfortunately, it's something they can do on their own, which I really love. So there's that piece, dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment. Dual credit, depending on where you live.
Hmm.
High school students taking college courses during their regular high school day. I talk a
Yep.
lot about that. That is largely predicated upon the high school, though, and
Yeah.
what's approved by the high school, the particular state you live in. Still a great option and a low cost option to even a free option, depending on where
Yeah.
you live.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, Oddly enough, I talk a lot about AP,
Yeah.
advanced
Yep.
placement, which is kind of the
Hmm.
gold standard. It's been around forever. Just about every high school in America has some sort of AP program
Hmm.
where they offer a few AP courses with the corresponding exams or a lot. But so much of that I've seen, Dave, it's AP is used to prepare you for college, to help
Hmm.
bolster your resume for this school or that school. But it's not
Right.
talked about enough on, well, what does it mean if I earn a 3 or a 4 or a
Right.
5 on my
Yeah.
exam?
Hmm.
And
Yep.
there are colleges that will give significant college credit for that. So
Hmm. Right.
many students are earning college credit and they don't even realize it, or they don't
Yeah.
understand the potential positive impact it can play.
Hmm.
The final one I talk about a lot, and this is a new on the horizon within the last probably 3 or 4 years. It was essentially a product of the pandemic. Is the ASU Universal Learners Program. This is a
Yeah.
unique program through Arizona State University, which
Okay.
if you read any of the publications, they're constantly ranked in the top 2 or 3 in innovative colleges in the country. And this is another
Hmm.
innovative model that they've
Hmm.
created where there are 75 fully online college courses. The
Okay.
nice thing is they are unlike a dual enrollment class where there are potential roadblocks, placement exams, approvals, all these things. Like the CLEP exam, this doesn't require any approval of a counselor, of
Okay.
a principal, of anybody.
Okay.
Dave, if you wanted to do this, you could sign up for a class in the time it takes us to get through this podcast episode.
Okay. All right.
Less than 30 minutes, $25 to take a class, which is what I
Wow.
love. So
Okay.
low
Yeah.
cost barrier,
Yep.
no admissions requirements, no GPA requirements, no
Hmm.
approvals, no placement exams. There is no age limits. I have walked families with children that are 9 and 10 years old do these.
Wow.
I
Okay.
walked a person that was 77 down this road the other day.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
there is literally no barrier to entry. What I really like about these, unlike an AP and unlike even like a dual enrollment or a traditional college class, is they're what I call non-committal college classes.
Okay.
Meaning the only way you get the college credit is if you go through the class and you like your final grade. Meaning,
Hmm.
if you
Okay.
get a C, if you
Hmm.
fail the course, if you don't complete it for whatever reason,
Hmm.
it's no harm, no foul
Wow. Okay.
because the only way you get the credit is if you pay for it. And it's
Okay.
$400, a lot
Okay.
of money, I get it.
Yeah.
But I look at college and the whole thing as far as not how much it's going to cost per year to go to college, but how much it's going to cost per course. And
Yeah. Right.
the average college course at a public university is $2,500.
Hmm.
Well, this is 400.
Hmm.
So it really is a low barrier. It's one I talk about a lot just because so few people know about it.
Yeah.
But it's there again, just another part of a college journey. And the nice thing is we with so many families, their best route may be this ASU program. It may be
Hmm.
CLEP. It may be AP. Whatever it is, it's finding that unique college journey, whether it's
Yeah.
one or
Yep.
whether it's all of them, and that's really the goal. So those are the methods I really like the most, and that I talk about daily.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, actually, I want to just ask specifics on all four of those, and I'll work backwards from
Mhm.
starting with the ASU. So, you said that if you're not happy with your results, there's no harm to that. So, does that mean let's say you fail the class, there's no transcript or record that other colleges are going to find out about?
Correct. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
Essentially, and that's what I like, especially for younger students, for students that are
Right.
maybe trying a college class for the first time, just to see what it's about. Because
Yep.
so many dual enrollment programs, concurrent enrollment, even AP, they will put age or even grade level restrictions,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
typically it's 11th grade, right? So you can't
Yep.
even sniff a college class until 11th grade. So this is a great way to see what a college class is all about with no commitment. So
That's awesome.
it's just that. So if you don't want the college credit and you just want the experience, or if it goes poorly, you get a poor grade, you
Hmm.
don't want to report it, you simply don't pay the 400 and it's like the class never happened and you're only out your $25 in your time. It's a really interesting model. I wouldn't be
Yeah. Yeah.
surprised if more colleges go towards it as a
Right.
way as an entry level. Now, because you're not a degree seeking student, it allows colleges a lot more flexibility.
Sure.
But
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
it seems too good to be true, but there are very few downsides that I have seen in my experience working with families.
Yeah. Very cool. I did not know a thing about that. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. One that I do know quite a bit about is dual enrollment because my son took advantage of that, actually
Mhm.
earning his AA before he had graduated high school. So very familiar
That's
with
awesome.
that. Can you just talk a little bit about the pros and cons of it? Because I know that there are potentially both. You just want to hit maybe some of the highlights of dual
Sure.
enrollment?
Yeah, I mean the pros are you're earning just like what your son did. You're earning a college degree potentially in high school.
Right.
Now, at a low cost or really no cost. There again, all depending on the state you live in.
Hmm.
And this is the unfortunate part in a sense. The states have largely dictated, how what funding is going to look like for dual enrollment,
Right.
what the barriers are, and then the local high schools, the local school districts kind of take the ball and run with it. But because it's
Hmm.
so vague, that can be kind of a downside. I've seen dual enrollment programs in neighboring districts 5 miles apart, and they are incredibly different. One offers everything at no cost, and you can take them as young as early as ninth grade. And the next door neighbor district, it's 11th grade. It's only
Hmm.
one or two classes. You
Yep.
have to pay a certain amount. There are all these barriers and things like that. So those are some of those cons. The other con can be, unlike the ASU program, you have a permanent record in a sense.
Yeah. Yep.
You take a college class, even if it's on your high school campus, taught by an approved high school teacher, because it's the college class, you only have that first few weeks, that what we call a drop window,
Yep.
to basically exit the class free and clear like it
Yeah.
never happened,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if the class goes poorly, if you fail it, if you get a C, if you withdraw, that's on a college transcript that will then follow you. Now,
Right.
time heals everything, right, Dave? I
Mhm.
mean, the further you go in your college journey, it can
Sure.
really help.
Yep.
But that is one of the downsides I see. But one of
Hmm.
the positives, and I was privileged enough to help support 3,000 students over my years in education, is watching them graduate with that degree or certification or certifications or
Hmm.
whatever it looks like at high school graduation before they officially graduated high school. Is a
Yeah.
really
Yep. Yeah. That's kind of cool to say. I have a college degree and I haven't even graduated high school. So
exactly. I
yeah.
love that.
Yep.
That is a great
Yeah.
story. You can tell your friends and anybody you meet forever, and they're just going to scratch their head like, wait, what?
Yeah. Very cool. Well, one that probably I'm going to say, I don't know if most people's the right word, but of these, the largest percentage of people will have heard of is AP. Because even
Yes.
I, as a high school student, was aware of this, and I was not what you would call a very exceptional student. I was very lackadaisical, but even I knew about and even took a few AP courses. Um,
Mhm.
so what are some of the pros and cons of AP?
Yeah. And I'm not the biggest fan of AP. I see its purpose, but like I mentioned earlier, some of the biggest pros are it's a standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's very recognizable at
Right.
any college you go to here in the US and then even internationally.
Hmm.
It's recognized. There's a standardization with it as far as
Right.
the curriculum that's presented. If you take an AP US history in a high school in California and you move and take one in the state of Maine, another one, it's going to largely be the same because
Hmm.
those high schools, those AP approved instructors have to meet a certain standard, right? So
Right.
because of that, it's easier for colleges to determine eligibility for college credit, and then also it really helps with admissions.
Hmm.
Bolsters that
Right.
resume. It's
Yep.
it's the known, right? Because it's so well known everywhere. The cons really are you have to be in, for the most part, and I know I'm not going to get too much in the weeds about this, but for the most part, you have to be in the AP class the entire year
Right. Right.
to then, and then the only way you get the college credit is if you sit for the exam
Hmm.
and you earn typically at least a three, sometimes a
Yep.
four, and then you can
Right.
get the college credit. So there's that piece. It's a much slower paced
Hmm.
with you've seen with your own son with dual enrollment. It can be at a much quicker pace because
Right.
typically you're in a college class half the time,
Yep.
one semester versus 1 year with AP. Those are really the things I see with AP. You can't take nearly as many. You're still going to have your full day. And really, in my experience, if a student, graduates high school, moves on to college, and it's usually their first time they're experiencing a college class in half the time in one semester,
Hmm. Right.
whereas
Right.
AP, it's a full year. So that would be,
Yeah.
kind of another con, I would say.
Yep. And then CLEP. So this is something that I was
Mhm.
not aware of when my son was in school, but became aware
Mhm.
of shortly thereafter when I started working with other families.
Mhm.
And a lot of my students have taken advantage of it.
Mhm.
Um, a pro is that you don't have to have taken a class to take the CLEP exam for the given subject. Um, if a student takes a CLEP exam and doesn't pass it, are there any
Mhm.
ramifications for that, aside from obviously not getting credit for it?
Good question. And that's another advantage and why I advocate and talk so much about CLEP because you're not earning an academic grade like a dual enrollment, like an AP class where there is a letter grade attached to how well you mastered or did not master that subject. With CLEP, you're literally earning a score, a raw score of 20 to 80 points on
Okay.
any of the exams. Typically, a minimum passing score at many colleges for many of the exams is of 50. So
Okay.
using that as kind of the benchmark, if you were to take the exam and earn a 40,
Hmm.
it's like it never happened. You simply
Okay.
wouldn't get the college credit.
Right.
So
Right.
at that point, kind of like the ASU program with CLEP, you're out your time you took to prepare to study for that exam, maybe a small proctoring fee. And that's really it. The other thing is College Board won't allow you to take that specific CLEP exam. So let's say you took a CLEP exam for American government and
Hmm.
you got less than the minimum score that a college you're considering would accept for credit. You cannot retake that exam for 3 months. You can take any
Oh,
other
okay.
CLEP
Three
exam
months. Okay.
um, for that specific exam. So
Yeah.
you can still
Right. Right.
take, any of the other exams. It's just that particular one. So that's kind of the one downside. But because there's no letter grade attached or anything like that, the other comment and question I get is, well, I need a GPA boost, so I'm going to take
Mm-hmm.
CLEP because you're not earning a letter grade with CLEP, even when the college gives you credit, there is no impact positively or negatively to your GPA. So that's the
Right.
other
Right.
side. If you're looking at it, I need a GPA boost. CLEP's not the way to go. You're
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
have better luck with AP or honors or dual or something like that.
Right. Right. Well, I guess just to kind of put a cap on all four of these different paths. Obviously, what's going to be accepted, it will vary from college to college, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Um, and you know, kind of that taking that reverse engineering approach, the earlier a student can identify the college or group of colleges that they're interested in, the more they can hone in on which of these is going to be their best route.
That is the case,
Yeah.
somewhat, and that is obviously a more seamless path. If a student has or your student has an idea of the colleges you're considering, even the next step, like you want to pursue, a pre-med path or
Hmm.
a teaching path or whatever that might like nursing, it's more seamless.
Yeah.
However, the nice thing about this is because of the reverse engineer process, and because what we've looked at on my side of things and all that data and all the history and things like that we can make some general assumptions and some general rules of thumb, right? Because colleges, as you know, colleges will gatekeep information, not
Sure.
because they're doing it on purpose, but because there is such an incredible amount of information that to
Hmm.
put it all in one place would just overwhelm anybody, right? Plus, it's a lot of manpower to
Yeah.
tell you, yeah, we'll accept this college credit. It's going to equal this, that, the other. Some colleges do it. But when we can look at general rules of thumb, we can look into a crystal ball, I kind of call it, and we look
Hmm.
well, what are the common classes specifically around general education core curriculum that every college requires, no matter what you want to study? Every college is going to require a composition class,
Hmm. Yep.
English, math, science, all those things. Knowing we can look at those general rules of thumb, we cast a wide net, a big umbrella, so to speak, and we look at
Hmm.
if we're looking at CLEP exams, or if we're looking at ASU, if we're looking at AP or dual, whatever it is, let's look at the subject areas that are very well known, that are
Hmm.
commonly accepted, and we have history, and we start there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
As
Yep.
we go through the high school journey or whatever that is, as we get closer to that, physical college date, whenever you're exiting and going to college, then we can narrow that focus even more. And I work with families all the time on that. So it's definitely not impossible because so few kids, even adults, know what they want to do or even where they want to go. So
Hmm.
we look
Yeah.
at,
Yeah.
well, let's start with one I really like as for a CLEP exam is psychology. Commonly
Okay.
accepted, the
Hmm.
vast
Hmm.
majority of colleges accept history, American government, math, things like that. And it gives us a good jumping off point. So it's definitely possible, even if you're unsure on those factors.
That's awesome. Well, we're coming up on time, so I want to give you time to just talk a little bit about how you work with students and families, and then how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, I make everything virtual.
Okay.
I am not a traditional college advisor in that I sell or promote packages where I work with you for 3 or 4 years, preparing you for college, preparing you for all these things,
Hmm.
promising you the moon and charging 4 or 5 figures for it because that gets really expensive. What I offer are a la carte, what are called one-on-one strategy sessions in
Okay.
which we meet. I send a pre-questionnaire, fill that out. I do research and homework. We then meet as a family, as a team, whatever that will looks
Hmm.
like, and then I presented an initial college strategy plan, basically a roadmap based on what I know about you. Here's where I recommend you start. Here's your action items. Here
Hmm.
are the next steps. Go. If families want to meet again, they can. I have some families that want to meet once a month. I have others that
Hmm.
want to meet once a year or two, so it all
Yeah.
depends on that. So that's really the main piece. I am launching something really exciting called the Reimagine College Club. And
Okay.
this has largely been brought out of, working with so many, not only high school students and parents, but middle school families,
Hmm.
international students, adults, current college students, to basically come to a private Facebook community that'll be a one-time fee, lifetime access, no monthly
Hmm.
membership or anything like that. Inside those, we do weekly Q&As over Zoom. We do a monthly master class, and then we also have the community. So it's a way for me to put a lot more information out there than my traditional social media. But you can find me I'm on pretty much all the platforms. On TikTok at college in high school and the number one, and then
Hmm.
Instagram and Facebook at college in high school. And I'm also newly on YouTube at college and high school one. So you can find me just about everywhere.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it was on Facebook where I first learned about you. So you're
Yeah,
you're getting out there for sure. And we'll of course put links to all of your socials in the show
great.
notes. Josh, this has been awesome. Learned a lot, and I know that the listeners will get a lot out of this. So I hope that they reach out to you to take advantage of some of those one-on-one sessions that you
I
offer.
I appreciate the time, Dave, and my tagline is always "Let's reimagine college," and we
Love
can
it.
we can do that. Well, let's show you how.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Love to have you back on again sometime.
All right, I would love that. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.